see you guys in the dark.
About 45 minutes before I was supposed to close up the store, I had a couple in looking at movies to rent. Nice people, though. Then I see this guy with a pizza box from next door walk into the vestibule and kind of pause before he walks in. Turns around, lays his jacket on the floor, and put his pizza on top of it. I thought it was a little strange, but also polite since maybe he just assumed that he had no food or drink policy. For some context, he looked a little haggard, tall and lanky, with dirty clothes, greasy hair, dirty hands, but he did have a mask. We get a lot of country and farm workers, and also a lot of homeless in the store since we're right next to a mission, and the biggest medium town in a rural area. I couldn't pinpoint which he was, but either I never turned down people, who I recognize as homeless anyways. Especially when it gets cold like this, since I know the mission doesn't actually allow people in for the night until 10 p.m. So he walks in, and I call over, "Hey, you can bring that in here. Just don't get crumbs on the floor, you know." He seemed surprised. It was like, "Wait, seriously? That's cool of you. Thank you." Went back out to grab it, but then he comes back inside. I knew immediately that I had fucked up. He had made a beeline for me, and things were immediately terrible. He just stood up at the counter, and I kind of put two and two together that he definitely wasn't a farm boy, and not here to buy anything. So this is where the story is probably going to get a little scrambled, because this man was scrambled. He starts in, going, "Oh my God, you're so cool. I'm so happy that I met you. You're beautiful. Wow." And making these weird smacking sounds with his mouth. Don't know how else to describe it besides that one fuckboy noise. And I was like, uh-oh, thanks. I turned around and tried to look busy, hoping that he might just warm up and leave. No such luck. He kept going on. This man just rambled on non-stop, with me trying my best to give short and disinterested answers to questions, which he would then forget he asked, and then repeat. Rapid fire round. "Oh man, what color are your eyes? Are they brown?" "No." "I'm so happy that I met you. This is unbelievable. I can't believe fate brought us together. You live around here? That's insane." He takes off his mask. But as only the employees are required to wear them at my store, there wasn't a lot that I could do. "Uh-huh." "Are your eyes brown? That's so beautiful. My eyes are brown." "I have hazel eyes, and they look gray most of the time. Definitely not brown." Some things that he said were unintelligible. He wasn't really slurring, but certain phrases he kept repeating really low, so I couldn't really understand them. "So like, are you going back down soon?" "What?" "Are you gonna go back down soon?" "I don't know what you mean." "Haha, you're funny." This entire time, he had really manic energy and was smiling. He'd seem lucid one second, then in a total different reality the next. But not like really out of it per se. "So I'm waiting for my friend Jeremy and Christian. You remember them, right?" "I don't know anyone called that." "What?" He put on a face like he thought that I was joking. "You're funny, man." "So, what are you doing down here?" "What do you mean?" "Like, what brings you down here?" I'm working." "That's crazy." At this point, he scoots closer down the counter towards me, so that now he's directly across from me. "So you have, like, job applications?" "Yes." I feel like some people will say that I should have said that we're not hiring, and I would have, only we have signs up all over the store that say that we are always hiring, even when we're not. And I just hoped that he'd just take one and go. Come down off of whatever drug that he was on, and then not come back once he was sober. "Can I get one?" "Sure." I just hand him one with a pen, and then I told him that he could keep it. "So what's your name?" You can feel free to call me stupid here, because I really was stupid. But at this point, my mind was just froze in fear by now, erratic that he was acting this way, and the horrible vibe that he gave me. Fake but similar enough name in this story, though, for obvious reasons. "Alice." "Like Alice in Wonderland?" "Sure." "Oh my God, man." He starts laughing pretty hard at this point. That is so good. Wow. I'm just happy that I met you. He writes down my name on the application that I just gave him. At this point, I'm kicking myself for being so stupid, which just makes me panic even worse. You got any brothers or sisters? I have an older brother. He lives just down the road. I said this hoping that it might scare him, even though he did not live down the road. And even if he did, my brother is awesome, but most certainly not the type to be in any position to fight somebody. One brother? That's crazy. So you know Jeremy and Christian. They're my friends. We're waiting to go down. I don't know them. You're funny, man. Your eyes. They're so pretty and brown. That's amazing. My girlfriend is up in town. 1.5 hour drive from where we are. Cool. You've got a boyfriend? I'm engaged. What? What's his name? I panicked again. Feel free to call me stupid, but in the moment, I felt like if I didn't give a name, he wouldn't believe that he existed, and he wouldn't back off of me. His name is Derek. At this point, he wrote that down in the application again. I was feeling really scared, but still okay since that couple from earlier are still in the store. I pulled out my phone and discreetly tried to text my boyfriend to get a ride and come to my work immediately because I did not feel safe. My boyfriend is pretty scary when someone's bothering me, so I knew that if I would get him up here before that couple left, I'd be okay. And if they went to go check out, I was going to offer them a huge discount if they grabbed some new releases that we had. So that was my game plan, since at this point, I certainly needed one. So when are you going back up? What? You know, back up. I don't know what you're talking about, dude. Man, you're so funny. I'm so happy that I get to see you. I haven't seen you in so long. I don't even know you. This is the first time that we've even met. You're so hilarious. Haha, man, what's it been? I haven't seen you in 200 years. Something about this tone made it clear that 200 was not an expression here. He meant a literal 2 centuries. I'm sorry, you must have me mistaken. Man, I'm just so happy. I told them that I had to come down here because you were working. I said I got to, man. That's my wife. That's my wife in there. That's like my wife, you know. We have 5 kids together. You're so cute, man. At this point, I'm thinking, what the fuck do you even say to that? Man, what color are your eyes? Brown eyes? Wow, you're beautiful. Man, I've missed you. Why do you? Why do you think fate brought us here tonight? We have never met before, dude. You're so funny. Hey, do you know anywhere I could stay? There's a mission 2 blocks from here that way. It should be open about now. The mission? No way. You know about the mission? Yeah, I'm on a mission. They sent me on a mission. Yep, it's the church program. It's that way. They'll let you stay the night. A lie, they don't accept people who are clearly on drugs, but I wanted him gone from my store. At this point, he kept talking, but as I panicked while I waited for my boyfriend to get there, I kind of dissociated a bit and just stopped responding. He asked if he could use the phone, and thinking he might call a friend to come collect his ass or something, I gave him one. He starts pulling cards and papers out of his pockets and piles them on the counter, muttering something about Jeremy and Kyle and trying to find his girlfriend's phone number. I caught a glance, and it looked like there were lots of scribbles and some more random names on all of those papers. He leaves the phone and his papers on the counter, walks over to the couple in the store. It's a small store, but I can't hear so well, but from the text it was something about if they knew somewhere that he could stay. The guy basically said no, shook his head, and when offered. Then as the weirdo came back over to me, they sped off to the other side of the store, though still in clear sight of us. By this point, I knew that my boyfriend couldn't be more than a couple of minutes away, but I was still so scared. The guy had half his body leaned over the counter, saying the same stuff over and over, then literally pouting when I refused to shake his hand, offering up "it's a pandemic" response. At this point, it all kind of turned into a blur. More aggressive manic body language, more insisting I'm his wife, and this is fate. He can't wait to go back with me. My brown eyes are so beautiful. For the sake of not being redundant, I'll leave it at that. Then I see my boyfriend pull up with our friend. Instantly, the wave of relief that I felt was so intense, all the tension left my body. My boyfriend walked in with such a "I'm looking for a fight" posture, that before I even yelled, "Hey, Derek," the weirdo looked uncomfortable. After I said his name, though, he started gathering up all his stuff. He left on my counter and cleared out. Once he was out of the store, I ran out from behind the counter and just hugged my boyfriend. The couple from before came over, and before they could say anything, I was like, I am so sorry you had to deal with all of that. You can get anything you want. It's on me. And the guy was like, yeah, I definitely wasn't going to leave you alone with that. That was fucking insane. And the girl was like, Brian, that was the guy that we heard outside literally barking before we came in. What the hell? I wish that I could say that it ended there, but it didn't. We had about 20 minutes left before we closed. The couple left with a bunch of credit on their account. Mine and my boyfriend's friend that drove him left, and my boyfriend stayed with me. Thank God that he did, because 2 minutes before we closed, my boyfriend was browsing the video games, somewhat out of view from the front, and this dude just walks back in. He made a beeline for me, again, but then my boyfriend stepped out from behind the shelves and started walking towards me too. The guy quickly backed off again, mumbling something about looking for his cigarettes before leaving. He literally just tried to wait my boyfriend out so that he could come back and do God knows what. Anyways, I'm working the same shift tonight. I told my manager about it, and this time, if he comes in, I'm authorized to call the cops on site, or text her to do so if I feel unsafe doing it myself. Hopefully tonight goes better, but my car battery died in the bank drive-thru when I went to go pick up the deposit slips for the store this morning, so I think I might have been hexed or something. Please, be smarter than me in situations like this. I was 19 when this happened to me. I was very stupid and naive back then. I was also very lucky to have my best friend with me, who obviously was much smarter than me. I had this friend who was much older. I guess he was like 35 or 36. For whatever reason, he liked to hang out with teens and people in their early 20s. I met him through some friends. He was very popular. Many of my friends were in bands, and we generally were attending gigs together. This guy was known to know a lot about punk rock, local bands, people you should know as aspiring musicians, old cult status bands, and all of their members. He had his own apartment, which isn't something many people in their 20s have in my country. So it is very cool to be able to hang out at his. He was a semi-professional sportsman. He had vast collections of music and always had lots of food and weed. He sort of liked me, or so I thought. We would exchange flirty texts on a daily basis, and it was great. I kinda liked him too. He was a good-looking guy, but I always felt like something was wrong whenever he started to get flirty or whatever. All was right when we were just texting, but in person it just felt weird. He just didn't sit right with me. At that point, I didn't know why. I couldn't pinpoint that feeling to anything about him in particular. I was at his apartment often with my friends, but would never stay alone. I went there thinking, okay, this is it, let's have some fun, with my girlfriends all excited for me too, but would just change my mind as soon as he opened the door. One day my best friend visited me. She normally lives in another country, and she isn't from my city or area at all. She has only been here just a few times to come visit me. That's going to be important later. Also note that we are both what you would call petite. She knew all about this guy and how I liked him, but wasn't sure. Of course, as soon as she came, the two of us went to go visit him. We were alone at his apartment. They seemed to get along well, so I was calm and happy. We had some pasta that he made, and I had me some wine. My best friend said that she didn't want any, which seemed a little strange, but I didn't ask her why. We had a nice afternoon when he suddenly asked if we want to go to a party with him. He was going soon, and we could go with him. Of course, I said sure. Didn't even ask where to and with whom. I just figured that we were going somewhere in the city, and I will definitely meet many people I know there. I was really popular back then, had many friends in my mid-sized hometown, so I wasn't worried at all. Then two of his friends, both around his age, came over to pick us up. But as soon as we left his apartment complex, I realized that we were going in the wrong direction, leaving the city behind us. Only then had I asked where we were going, and they explained that another friend had a farm far away on the outskirts of the city. I had a vague idea where that was. I still wasn't nervous at this point, as I still figured that since it was supposed to be quite a big gathering, surely there will be people that I know. We arrived. The area was huge, with many greenhouses, a trailer where the guy lived, and an old farmhouse, which was quite far away, where his parents lived. In some of the greenhouses, there was weed growing in between tomatoes. That was the supplier that my friend always had his weed from. There weren't that many people there, and almost exclusively guys. Only other girls were much older than us, hippies and very stoned, chilled with their boyfriends. We were definitely the youngest ones there. This started to make me feel anxious, but the overall vibe was good and very chill. The guys who were talking to us, despite the obvious age difference, were all very nice. No stupid innuendos or anything of the sort. So when my guy friend offered beer, I grabbed it without thinking much of it. My best friend was offered drinks too, but she didn't want any. We sat around the fire, and this is when things got blurry for me. In fact, the next thing that I remember is lying in my bed the next morning very hungover. Nothing from the night, so the rest of the story is based off of what my best friend had told me. As I had my beer, just one, and a little wine consumed hours before that, way less than what would normally get me drunk, I started to act really wild. She used the word slutty. Oops. I apparently started kissing the guy that I knew hard, in front of everyone else near the fire. She was a little shocked, but thought that I wanted it. Then sat on top of him kissing and practically riding him. His friend came over and asked if he could get a kiss too. I complied, started kissing him too. This is when she started to worry, as this wasn't how I behaved at all. She noticed the guy wink at my friend and exchange smiles and winks with their other friends. All the while, the other person tried to make my best friend drink something too. She said she didn't drink alcohol, but they insisted that they had juice or water then. Luckily, she didn't. Then the guy that I knew asked the one living on the farm if we could use some privacy for one of the greenhouses, and lifted me up and started to walk that way. Right at that moment, my little brave best friend stood up, protested that. She started yelling for him to leave me alone, and said that we are going back home. Some of the other people, not from the group of friends that we stayed with, who were busy with themselves earlier, started noticing something was going on, so the guy just let me go. She said our taxi is waiting for us, and then we left. There definitely was no taxi there. It was midnight at this point, and we were alone on some road. No one followed us, though, so it was good. But she was very scared the whole time. She walked, dragging me behind her to see the sign closest to the property, and was able to read the name of the place, as she had no idea where we were, and she was too afraid to ask the people at the party. Then she called a cab, and waited with me for half an hour until it arrived. She had no idea what my parents' address was too, so she had to navigate my city as they went. But she did it. My house is right on the main street, and has a distinctive mural on one side, so she was able to spot it. She found the keys in my purse and got me to the safety of my bed. If it wasn't for her, I would probably get raped on that farm. And I guess it wouldn't be by this one dude only. She said that she was vigilant due to what I told her about the guy before she even came here. And that is why she didn't drink anything for the whole afternoon and all night. Whoa, she is the best, and definitely the smarter one of the two of us. Please be smarter than I was back then. Never go places alone with people that you hardly know and don't trust. Always let somebody back home know where you're going. Send coordinates once you land yourself in similar situations. Don't drink alcohol or consume anything that somebody else gave you unless you know them very well. Most importantly, don't be afraid to call your parents or friends for help. She didn't do that even though she actually should have. Listen to your gut. Mine was telling me there was something wrong with that guy all along. I just didn't listen or expect it to be that bad. I honestly thought I was just creeped out because of the age difference. I was never the type to look for older guys on purpose. He never forced me to do anything when we were at his. Never made any lewd comments, nothing like that. He seemed very adult and considerate compared to my friends of my age. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, like, and hit the bell for notifications on future videos and become a stalker of the night. And I'll see you next time.